Alphonso Thomas broke a Somerset record, becoming the first man in the long history of the club to take 4 wickets in 4 balls, something which naturally helped his side race to a 6-wicket win over Sussex, with a day of their LV County Championship match in Taunton to spare. This day began with Sussex on 26 without loss in their second innings and trailing by 49 runs. 7 runs were added in spite of this moment of confusion in the first 34 balls. Then Thomas started his magical spell. With the 4th ball of his 3rd over of the morning, he produced a jaffer to bowl makeshift opener James Anion on 18. Next ball, a full delivery hit Rory Hamilton-Brown on the pad in front of his stumps, and he too was on his way. Now to the hat-trick and the big wicket of Ed Joyce, who got a regulation nick behind to Craig Kieswetter. Thomas sprinted off into the distance before thinking about what he'd just achieved as Peter Trigo started the next over. Extraordinarily, he too got a wicket as Chris Nash had a poke at a wide ball and was held at first slip by James Hildreth. And the amazing scenes weren't completed yet. Thomas came storming in at the start of his next over and saw Matt Machen drag the ball back onto his stumps. From 33 without loss, Sussex had slipped to 33 for 5 in the space of 10 deliveries. Thomas, in his own words, celebrated like a nutcase. Sussex must have been in a state of shock as Ben Brown and Luke Wright finally ended the mayhem. Thomas had become the first player in Somerset's history to bag 4 in 4, and it was the first time that that's been achieved by any man in Taunton. It was last done in this country 14 years ago by Gary Butcher, while Kiwi Neil Wagner was the last bowler to take 4 in 4 balls in a domestic game in 2012. It took Brown and Wright some effort to turn the game back to something resembling normality. They both survived until lunch, but only just. Alvaro Peterson nearly pulled off a stunning catch after reading what Brown was thinking. It still had been a morning that those at the ground will remember for a very long time indeed. Lunch was taken with Sussex on 79 for 5 with a lead of just 4 runs, but a fight back was on and Wright pulled Trigo for a 6 as he and Brown took their partnership to 71 and the score to 104. While Thomas will of course rightly take the plaudits for his outstanding performance, the efforts of Trigo can't be ignored either. He removed Brown for 35 before Thomas came very close to his 5th wicket. That did soon come when Wright was caught by Marcus Trescothick after a big juggling performance in the slips. It gave Thomas his 3rd 5-wicket haul in his last 3 championship games in Taunton, and it took his tally this year to 27. Wright was out for 35 at 110 for 7, the lead standing at only 35, and before another run had been added, Trigo struck for a 3rd time by having Luke Wells, who'd come in at number 8 because of a side strain, very well taken behind by a diving Kieswetter. It looked as if this match may even be over before tea, with Somerset completing an impressive double over Sussex to move to the top of the table, but Stephen Pilot batted as well as any of his teammates to hold up the home side's charge towards the victory line. Perhaps they would have done that even earlier than they did in the end had Pilot not been dropped at short leg, a very tough chance. Pilot received excellent support from Will Beer, the two frustrating the Somerset attack for 20 overs in adding 56 runs for the 9th wicket. But just before tea, Pilot on 30 was superbly held by Trescothick under the helmet at short leg. Before Beer also fell to George Dockrell with a gloved pull behind. Beer had made 29. With Thomas taking 5 for 40, Sussex were all out for 178, and that gave Somerset the last session to score 104 to win for the 3rd time this season and to move to the top of the tree for the 1st time. It had been an incredible day for the home side, and they now look to finish it off in style. Johan Myburg and Trescothick got off to a flying start as they aimed to get an extra day off, one which could be spent admiring the LV County Championship table. Founded back in 1875, Somerset have never lifted the championship trophy, but they are now becoming one of the firm favourites to do that this year, having been so cruelly denied by Nottinghamshire back in 2010, when they would at least have shared the title under the old rules. They did actually have a little wobble late in the day, having taken the score to 41 off only 26 balls. Myburgh, with 27 of those off 12, chipped this ball from Steve McGoffin to Machin. Trescothick was batting with a runner after slipping while running, hurting his groin, the only bad part of a very good day for his team. Both were heading off as the Somerset skipper was brilliantly caught by Pilot off Anion. Peterson followed for a golden duck, but there was no hat-trick this time. Instead, Nick Compton continued the quick scoring by going after Beer, hitting him for 2 almost identical sixes off successive balls to leave just 33 more runs to get, with plenty of time to do that on this day. Somerset then lost Hildreth for 11 as he nicked off to Pilot with 21 wanted by the home side. And they got those in just 10 balls. Compton helped himself to his third 6 off Beer, leaving it to Keyswetter to finish the game off by belting Pilot over the cover boundary for another maximum. Somerset have had some good days so far this season, but none better than this one, as they got to their target of only 20.1 overs, giving Thomas et al. Plenty of time to celebrate a fabulous victory. They won by 6 wickets, with Compton ending on 38 and Keyswetter on 15. Somerset were able to take 21 points from the game, and that's enough to put them on the top of the table for now, although Yorkshire could snatch that back if they can beat Nottinghamshire in their current game. Sussex had to settle for 4 points, and that leaves them 24 behind the leaders at the halfway point of the season.